What's up, everyone? Victoria here at popculture.com, joined in studio by the one, the only, Frank Caliendo.
I give myself applause. Why not? If nobody's here,
I know.
I'm going to do it for myself. I have no problem.
Did I do a good intro?
Yeah. Hakuna Matata. Way to go.
I feel like it sounded a little like UFC. You know, the guy that goes.
You know what? You did a little bit. And
Yeah.
Michael Buffer, I believe is the name.
Yeah, I don't know the name, but I felt like you deserved that type of intro.
You know what I did? Here we go. Let's go. All right.
Well, we are so pumped to have you in studio. Now, you are currently on a tour, and last night you performed. Most people know we are located in Nashville, Tennessee. Last night you performed at Zanies.
Yes.
How did it go? How was the crowd?
Fantastic. No comedian has ever said I didn't do well, especially not on.
Well, you never.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I've been working on a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
I'm known so much for the sports stuff that I've been doing that I've been trying to branch out and do lots of other just little pop culture-y kinds of things. Hence
why you're here today.
Hakuna Marimba. There we go. But yeah, definitely that kind of stuff. And it's funny to watch I almost have two different audiences right now.
Yeah.
People who are just waiting for the John Madden impression. And right now, people probably who are watching this are going, who's John Madden? Boom, you'll figure it out. He's not even in his own video game anymore. Sells millions and millions of video games. They bought him out because he was making too much money on it. But just doing even some stuff from the Avengers. My daughter's a huge fan of that kind of stuff.
I was going to say, your daughter met Chris Evans.
Yeah, and you'll have, I'd love to tell you about it, but you're going to have to go to comicbook.com to see that interview. Huh?
Okay.
Look at that, been working it, huh? All right. Sometimes I actually go into impressions, so that was almost a Jim Carrey. Feeling a little freaky? There we go.
Oh my God.
It starts to happen.
I am so impressed by your impressions, and we're going to dive into that in
Which
just
is probably
a minute.
why they're called that, right?
Yes. But you're so good at it, though.
I try. There are some people I think that are much better at me than nailing the dead-on voice, but I like to take a caricature of them and make it something a little more fun for me to do. Because at the beginning, when you get the voice, you can say the line or something like that.
Yeah.
But then to create, like with Al Pacino, that would be a person that I would take. What's amazing to me about him is he is amazed by everything. And that's part of acting. When you learn about acting, you're like, be curious. But Al Pacino's so curious that you could flip a light switch and be like, wait a second. You mean you flip a switch over here? A light goes on over there? Whoa! This is sorcery. Harry Potter style, huh? I know all of them. Hermione Granger and he who shall not be named. No nose. You know, and I chew the fake gum. You're weirded out.
I know.
You think it's conjuring. You think it's...
No, I'm so tripped up by it in a good way. Like, you're just so good, especially when you do your Morgan Freeman, which we're going to get to that.
That was a tease.
No. We're gonna get to the Morgan Freeman here in just a minute.
Yeah.
No, because I want to talk about your podcast.
I want to talk about Adam Sandler. You can't hide the laugh.
I know. So okay.
You have teeth. Show them.
I know. Well, I'm trying to contain myself. I'm not going to be good at my job today because it's just
you're doing
half of it's going to be me laughing. But okay, so your podcast, Alan Frank, Try and Be Serious.
Yes.
How often are you actually serious on there?
The idea behind that is there are actually two podcasts now, and the Alan Frank Try to Be Serious is kind of taking all the fighting that we see. Al Jackson is my co-host, and we see all the fighting on different topics that are out there, and we go, listen, let's try and not make this political and just talk about this as two people trying to be logical. Might have disagreements on things, and we bring guests on, and Drew Powell, who was on Gotham. He was actually on the other one, which is Drew's on his way in. We just had the Sklar brothers, comedic team brothers, which is why they're called the Sklar brothers, as opposed to Super Mario brothers. I'm backing up. As you can tell, I'm having trouble. Try to stay focused, but that's just the way it is. I know. Where is he going? So Alan Frank Try to Be Serious is actually a little bit more serious, but we have the laughter to make it fun. And then Frank Caliendo Cast, which I'm trying to figure out where we got the name of that. The Frank Caliendo Cast, all this can be found
Real original.
That's what I'm about, branding.
Yes.
But frankpods.com is where you can go for that. And on that podcast, that's a little bit of sports, a little bit of pop culture, and that was where we just recently had Drew Powell on, who is Solomon Grundy in Gotham. So,
well, I was gonna say, so I was listening to, there was one episode of the Alan Frank Trying to Be Serious podcast that really, I had like 50 questions when I listened to it. So you all had Ryan on. Forgive me, I forget his last name, but he was
Ryan Davis.
Yes, comedian as well. And something that you all brought up was that Well, one, I think just as someone who, as a consumer of your product, you don't think about all the time and effort that it takes for someone like you to put an entire show together, right? Something that Ryan brought up was, are comics allowed to joke about certain topics? And the one that you all had touched on was, can comics talk about, the gay culture without offending someone, right? Well, his brother's gay. And so it works really well into his stand-up. And it made me think of something that, like, do you find ever in your stand-up comedy that you have, like, when you offend people, if you offend people, that they're not the target audience of where that joke was written or who that joke was written for?
For me, a lot of it comes down to tone, and that was something we talked about. And that's not true for everybody, because not everybody thinks that same way. But when we make fun of different groups, it's not about trying to hurt the person. It's trying to say, you're different from me, I'm different from you. You know what? That's kind of funny. Our cultures are a little bit different. You mean you guys eat pizza too? We eat pizza. That's crazy. We're kind of similar. But wait, you won't eat pepperoni pizza? That's funny to us. So it's that kind of a thing where you go, it's turned into, people think everybody's bashing each other. And I think that has been some of the comedy. If you go back and watch like an 80s movie, you'll be like, oh my goodness, these are topics and there's bad stuff going on in here. The frat boy humor was pretty rough and stuff you wouldn't go, but it wasn't meant to put shine a light on something. If you're teaching somebody something, or like you said, with Ryan having a gay brother, or Al and I talk about a lot of different things about culturalism and white people, black people, any kind of, all that kind of stuff, because Al's black. We get into like, hey, are we actually trying to hurt each other here, or are we actually trying to bond? And in the end, it becomes a lot more fun. And I think we lose that a lot of the time. People are like, you're attacking this group. No, like, no, it's not that. But I always, and this is something Ryan Davis talked about on that podcast as well, you try and set it up and let people know where you're coming from.
Yes.
That's the
problem. So it doesn't seem like you're just coming out of nowhere.
Right, and that's the problem in social media, especially like Twitter. You only have a short amount of time, and people can take it, not even out of context. You're putting it out there out of context because they don't have the full context to go with, and it makes it difficult. But when you sit down and talk to people, you find out, that you're actually a nice person, and we might have some differences in opinion, but in the end you go, we're people, and it's okay to disagree as long as we respect each other.
As long as it's in a respectful manner. And I think that was the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway from your podcast was, listen, we want to make sure that we do it in a respectful manner. And I respect that. So, okay,
But it's hard. It's really hard.
It is, especially when you're highlighting what maybe a certain group is known for, or when you're touching on certain things.
And one of the things we do on that podcast is we make sure to frame everything as that. We're very careful about that, because there are some touchy issues, and we're saying things like, hey, don't listen to this in a short bite. Listen to the whole thing, because you're missing the point. Then if you have an issue with it, then come at us, but come at us nicely. And most of the time it's not, we're not bringing anybody down. We're saying, hey, it's good to like everybody and just try and be understanding.
Yeah. So, okay, you became famous for your impressions. You became famous for your comedy. But if we take all of that away for a second, who is...
Oh, goodness.
Who is Frank Caliendo outside of the public eye?
I'm trying to find him. No, I think family is and you hear a lot of people that are on television or whatever say this, but I've actually turned down, the first time I was ever asked to be on The Tonight Show, I actually said, it's my daughter's second birthday, I can't be there. I would love to be. We were having the birthday party at a gymnastics place, like a roly-poly-oly kind of thing. A roly-poly is whatever it's called. And we were there, and they called me. I was like, I can't, just having hope that they'd ask me again, which they did. It's like, I want to do this, but it's my daughter's birthday. And my daughter probably wouldn't remember it, but my wife would remember it forever.
Oh, so, she would hold it against you if you missed it.
Absolutely.
100%.
There would have been a new purse. It would have cost me a lot more.
You may as well just say no.
I learned quickly. So, but no, a lot of stuff that I actually, quote unquote, missed through the years. I've had some opportunities, but I think I'm a pretty good dad. I'm an okay husband. I think I make mistakes. I'm not the best in terms of being a good listener all the time.
Well, that's human.
Yeah. No, that's a guy.
And it's 100% a guy thing.
Let's be very careful about that.
Yes.
Like we do in Ellen.
Yeah.
But there's some to that. But I try to be a good dad. My wife actually texted me the other day. She's like, what do you do? How come these kids love you so much? And they think I'm like a demon. I'm like, well, here's the thing. I get to go away a lot and come back, first of all. That helps.
Yeah.
And the second part is I always listen to no matter what they have to say. Mm-hmm. She gets into like little fights with them sometimes.
Yes.
And I'm like, what I like to do is just sit back and listen for a while, which is what I should do with her, and I don't because now all my attention goes to them, and it's that's why I say it's kind of unfair.
And she might be the one disciplining a little bit more since you're traveling a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. She's the best, but she's also.
When Dad comes home, it's like, oh my gosh, Dad.
I am also really a super nice guy, and she is just average.
Oh wow!
No.
Do you
wait a second?
that?
You're editing this, right? Okay.
No, we're gonna leave it in.
Okay.
Makes for good clickbait.
I guess you're
right
already
there.
friends with her.
So okay, are your kids impressed by your impressions, or are they like, Dad, stop it?
They like the doors that it can open, I think.
Okay.
They're embarrassed
Meeting
of
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans was one. Josh Brolin, who this is part of the story I'll tell over there at comicbook.com. This camera there. That
there
camera.
You go.
Josh Brolin, I had video of him
Yeah.
talking about me as part of what he and Oliver Stone watched, my George W. Bush impression.
Oh my God.
To learn for the movie W.
Yeah.
And so that was we got to talk to Josh Brolin for a while, and Chris Evans just happened to be there. So
major Daughter's Day.
Yeah. Oh, surreal moment. So my son got to meet Kyler Murray, the number one draft pick by the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah. So there's lots of stuff.
Which is a team you spend a lot of time with.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. The Oakland Raiders. We were just there because of Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks. John Gruden.
Yeah. Tell you what, man.
Wasn't he?
Try to get through it. Even the people that don't know who this guy is, you know who Chucky is. Come on, Mayor. Mayor, man, come on. Talk about a horse there, man.
Oh my God. Was John Gruden ever offended when you first did?
I think he didn't know what to expect when he first met me.
Yeah.
That was kind of, he was standing there with a coffee. He's like, so you're the guy that does me, huh? And I'm just like this. And we did this for like 2 minutes. He's like, where are you from? So I looked up where he was from. So I said that. I was like, Sandusky, Ohio. He's like, really? I'm like, no. He's like, good, because you were blowing my mind, man. But he got onto it. A lot of the times the sports people worry that it's going to hurt their brand.
Yeah.
And what they see, Charles Barkley was another one who said, this only helps us. This makes us bigger. They do commercials with us. That's what's really, really good about it. So it's that kind of thing. It's not just me, obviously. Saturday Night Live does something. Anybody who does an impression of somebody, they don't want a bad take either. Yeah. Remember when, Ike Barinholtz used to do Marky Mark, who did it? Not Sudeikis. Sandberg. Andy Samberg used to do it on Saturday Night Live.
Yes,
and there were like, people would say that Mark Wahlberg would get upset about it. I think he was just kind of playing it up.
Yeah.
But it's that fun. People.
It's just a fun back and forth.
But the sports people are always put on pedestals, even from when they're little kids. So it's tough when somebody outside their world comes in and starts making fun of them. That's just, it's kind of a weird thing because in the locker room, whatever, they're like, they'll say whatever to each other because they're in that club. When coming from outside the club, you're like, you don't know the secret handshake.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you were hilarious on Hard Knocks. If you haven't seen it, you probably should.
Yeah.
It was
if you're
great.
Around kids, beep it out.
Yes, please leave the kids out of it.
This isn't like Housewives, man. You hear the whole thing. That's a funny thing. I walk in and my wife is watching with my 13-year-old daughter Housewives and stuff.
Like,
oh my goodness, that they got into The Office and Friends. And I'm like, my daughter went from 13 to 37 like that.
I know.
She's going through menopause.
Welcome to TV these
the real
days.
world, huh?
Yes. So, okay, real quick, you're Morgan Freeman. I'm tripped up by this impression because it's amazing. On Instagram, you do an impression of Morgan Freeman, but it's Monday Morgan Motivation.
Yeah, because I took Monday Motivation.
Yes.
And some people do Monday Morning Motivation.
Yes.
And I thought, you know what? Monday Morgan Motivation is alliteration. It flows.
That's where it came from.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of a derivative of Monday Motivation. So I would do it, and I would put just a picture of Morgan Freeman on the screen. He'd pop off, and people thought it was actually Morgan Freeman doing it.
Which was me.
And
100%. When I watched it for the first time, I was fully convinced that it was Morgan Freeman, and then I was like, oh my gosh, no, this is actually Frank doing an impression.
And then this last week, what I did was I put a divider down the middle.
Yeah.
So you could see me doing it. And then people are like, oh, you're not just having this isn't something you've taken from somewhere on the internet with him saying it. You're actually saying those words as it happens. And there she was, hiding that open mouth of surprise behind that card forever. Truth is. So I use that. I talk about this in my act that I wish I had Morgan Freeman in my life just to narrate me through situations.
Has Morgan never reached out to you after that?
He was Jimmy Fallon played something for him years ago on the Tonight Show, and he's like, "Hey, do you like it when he does impressions of you?" No. I think it was kind of a joke. I think Jimmy asked when people do impressions of you, do you like this? Not really. But I do with my wife. I wish I had that. I talk about this as my wife asks me questions I can't possibly get the answers right to. You know, that age-old thing like, do I look fat in these jeans? Well, that's when Frank realized he'd be sleeping on the couch for a while.
Perfect. I love that.
Yeah, it's just real life stuff.
So, okay, what's next for you? I mean, I feel like you're a busy guy. What is next for you?
I've just gotten into the podcasting stuff, so I'm learning to be me a little bit more. That's a big piece of it. I want to eventually, part of my problem is all I ever really wanted to be was a guest on The Tonight Show, on popculture.com.
Yes, on popculture.com. Here you are.
Big bucket list.
Yes.
So I didn't really have other goals. And then I started learning more about acting and thinking, oh, you know what? I'd actually like to act. Yeah. And when I first went to LA, I didn't have any acting skill. I was on television before I'd even acted on a stage ever. It was just doing stand-up. So I took some acting classes, learned that type of thing, and realized acting in some ways is much harder than I thought. It's very different. You wouldn't think so, but it's so hard to try and just be real.
This is why I went into this side of television, so I could just be myself. Yeah. Acting is
because when somebody gives you the words and then be the character, it's a lot tougher than the character coming up with the words that you've created the character and the words yourself.
Yeah.
You feel like, am I veering off of where I'm supposed to be? And you have to get out of that. But I'd like to act in small roles. My daughter wants me in a Marvel movie at some point.
Of course she does. She wants to hang with Chris Evans.
I said that would be great. I was like, okay. She said that in front of Tom Hiddleston, Loki.
Yes.
It was, Tom Hiddleston standing there, and she's like, Dad, you need to be in a Marvel movie. And you could just see Tom Hiddleston be very nice about it. But I was like, yeah. Tell her how easy that was.
Well, if you ever become a superhero, you need to come and hang out with us here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. We share comicbook.com and popculture.com. So
yeah, awesome.
It was a pleasure having you in studio today. You are awesome. I am so amazed by your impressions. You are so good and so talented.
I appreciate it. I was going to do my Tom Hiddleston. I didn't even get there.
Oh my God.
Could have done a Robert Downey Jr. We'll save it.
Wait,
okay, reverse it.
Really quick.
Do me a favor. I love you 3,000.
Really quick before we go. Has there ever been an impression that you're like, no, I can't.
Lots of them. I only do the ones I'm pretty good at.
That you're good at?
Yeah.
Can you think of one off the top of your head that you are good at?
I can't even do a good Joe Pesci.
Okay.
And Jim Brewer does a great Joe Pesci, so I always go, if somebody says, do Joe Pesci, I'm like, hey, Jim Brewer does a great one. I'll take you to his website.
Yes.
So. That's my Jim Brewer.
You seem like you can do just about anything.
No, I do. I'm more of a magician than a sorcerer, though.
Okay.
It's magic tricks that you have to work on and train.
Yeah.
As Ross Marquand, Walking Dead. He was also in Avengers. He was the Red Skull.
Yeah.
He and I had it because he's amazing. He and I had this big conversation about it. People do think you can just do the impression out of nowhere and don't realize it actually takes a lot of training. It's almost like breaking down a muscle.
Yeah.
When you build up a muscle, first thing you do is break it down and then it rebuilds over. So you find the cadence of a person. I'll get through this quickly. How many Christopher Walkens have you heard? Low, high, in the middle. But you know the cadence. Barack Obama talked slow at the beginning and speed up at the end. You find those things, and then people can just latch on to almost just the cadence itself without having the pitch 100% correct. So there's little tricks in it that make it work, and then if you can do a face like a George W. Bush or Adam Sandler or something like that, that helps it a lot more. Just finish it up with the John Gruden, man.
You do such a good John Gruden face.
Tell you what. Some pretty good stuff right there.
So good. Oh my God. I could just sit here all day and keep asking you questions. But we're going to have more at comicbook.com.
Absolutely.
Make sure that you hit up us at popculture.com for more on Frank Caliendo. Also go to our Instagram page at popculture because we're going to have some fun stuff over there for you too.
I'm going to do it right now. Are we up already?
No, not yet. Well, we're still going live.
Oh. Okay.
We'll have some more for you on our IGTV page. For more on Frank Caliendo, head over to popculture.com.
Stark Industries could have done it.